Welcome YouTubers, Parkinson's Travelers. This is Shaking and Baking with Parkinson's, and I'm Sugar, and we're here to do some baking. Now today on the channel is an extremely special day because today I am going to introduce you to my two new baking assistants. Now this is their first day on the job, so I'm not sure how much they're going to do. We got the uniforms ordered, so soon they'll be ready to go and soon help me on the bakes. But first, I want to introduce you to contestant number one, my first assistant. Now YouTubers, this is Carson, assistant number one. Isn't he just beautiful? And he is going to be in charge of all of the inventory here on Shaking and Baking. So we look forward to some really amazing bakes, don't we, buddy? And this is the lady that's going to steal everyone's heart. This is Saga. Saga is going to be in charge of all of our decorating and picking out the next sweets that we bake. And Saga is going to do amazing. So, as you can see, two new additions to the team. Going to make this channel oh so sweeter and so much more fun as we go through our journey, shaking and baking with Parkinson's. Now, if you're new to the channel, a little bit about me. I was diagnosed in 2016 with early onset Parkinson's. As an avid baker, I thought this was going to change the way I was going to bake, but I've decided, to share that journey with everyone out there and let you see how we can keep on doing anything we want to do as long as we keep on moving and as long as we keep on shaking. So today's recipe, one of the things I get asked for the most, pretzels.
I wake up every morning in a bed that's too small, drive my daughter to a school that's too expensive, and then I go to work to a job for which I get paid too little. But on pretzel day, well, I like pretzel day.
Pretzels, big soft pretzels covered in salt, drizzled in butter. Absolutely amazing. The weather's starting to turn a little bit cooler, and nothing is better than a hot pretzel when you sit down and watch whatever sporting event, football, whatever you're gonna watch. I'm gonna show you how to make those big fluffy pretzels that you cannot stop eating. So let's get to baking. Okay, as always, first thing I've done, I've already measured out almost all of my ingredients. I've got my flour and everything ready. Now this recipe can be done in a stand mixer, or it also can be done by hand. I enjoy making bread by hand, so I'm actually going to knead the dough myself here instead of using a mixer, but feel free to use a mixer if you want to. First thing I'm going to do is just look at the recipe. I'm going to get about 3/4 of a warm cup of water. It's probably going to be about 100 degrees Fahrenheit, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to get that in there, and the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take just a little tiny bit of sugar, and I'm gonna put it in the water and I'm gonna mix that up. Now what that's gonna do, the yeast is going to feed on the sugar. So that helps it become very active, very frothy, and that's what we want, because we want these pretzels to be able to really, really rise. So then I've got 2 packs of yeast. We'll dump those right in there with that sugar water, and I'm gonna let that sit for, until it becomes good and frothy. Sometimes it can take, a couple minutes, sometimes it can take up to 5 minutes. So mix that in. I'll take my spoon and just real gently, because I don't want to really get any of the yeast out, but it kind of sticks to the spoon. I'm just going to stir that up a little bit. Just kind of dissolve the yeast in there. Get as much as I can. You'll see some of it sticks to the spoon. That's fine. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. So I'm just put that aside. I'm going to let that go. We can mix everything else together and then add the yeast. So we'll go ahead and get started on that. Like I said, the recipe is going to be down below, so please go check out the recipe. And on your way down there, click that subscribe button down there at the bottom, and click those little notifications, little bell next to it. If you click that, you'll also get notifications on when my next video post. So while this is going, I have my flour already in the bowl. What I'm going to add to that flour, I am going to add. Now this recipe can also be made with sourdough, using a cup of sourdough starter, but I'm not going to do that. I've got some milk powder. Dry milk, you get that from any grocery store. I'm going to add that in there. And then I'm going to add just a teaspoon of sugar. So I'm going to 2 teaspoons of sugar on this, just to help that with a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Now this is not pretzel salt, this is just going to be regular salt. I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of just regular salt in here. Again, I've had the yeast in here, so it's okay. I can just mix that right in here. 1.5 teaspoons of that. Now I'm going to add a tablespoon of vegetable oil or melted butter. Either one works fine. I need to find a measuring stick. Okay, here we go. I got half a tablespoon, so I got half a tablespoon. So what I'll do, I'm gonna add 2 of those. Make it 2 tablespoons. Now, you can see this yeast is already getting ready. 1, and there's 2. Yeast is already rising, so it is getting nice and frothy. I'm going to take a wooden spoon, and I'm just going to kind of mix that up. Okay, so I got 3/4 of a cup, and I've got this yeast, which is looking very nice and frothy. So that looks really good. So I'm gonna dump all that in there. Make sure I get all the yeast in here. Now, there's gonna be something very different I'm about to do this recipe that I started doing. It really makes these pretzels really fluff up just unbelievably. And what I'm gonna add to that is I'm going to add plain old club soda. Get some of that fizz going. And I'm going to measure out about a cup. This is a 1/4 cup. And we'll start with 1 cup and see how that does. And let's see what kind of dough we get. So this looks, I may have to add a little bit more, but we will see how this does. Now what I'm doing here is I'm just going to mix this together until I've kind of got a very, very wet dough. Okay, so I added the flour. Now I'm going to add a little bit more flour until this dough gets to the consistency where I want to knead it. So previously that was, let's see, that was 3 cups of flour. Now I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of flour and see how that does. Say 1/3 of a cup, so I'm going to add 3 of these. Now when you're making bread, a lot of times you may come up and you go, well, my dough seems wetter than it did when I saw a video or what it looks like in the picture. Well, that means you want to add a little bit more flour. Now if it seems too dry, a little bit more liquid. And bread turns out to be a big feel. It's a lot of feel. You just kind of know after you make it once or twice, you'll know that, hey, that's what it's supposed to be like. Okay, so this is starting to look pretty good. I've got a scraper, and now I'm just going to dump it out on my surface, and I'm going to put a little bit of flour on. And I'm just going to knead it until it comes together and becomes very, very, very smooth. So I will see y'all as soon as that happens. Okay, so now I've got my dough kneaded. Put it in a bowl and let it rise for about an hour until it doubles in size. And then we'll do the next step. Okay, so I'm about to take our dough out. It is risen. After about 45 minutes to an hour, it has doubled in size. And at this time, I'm going to set my oven to preheat at 375. And also, I've got my pot of water with 6 to 8 cups of water in it. I'm letting that start to boil, and then I'm gonna add 3/4 of a cup of baking soda in that. That's what's gonna give these pretzels that amazing, the color, the crust, the taste. That's really the secret here. So now, the fun part, in my opinion, of this bake, we are gonna shape pretzels. And I also have my 2 baking trays over here with parchment on them. Then I've taken some vegetable oil, olive oil, whatever you want to use, and just put a nice coating on there that's going to keep them from sticking, and it's going to cause the bottom of those pretzels to really cook nicely. So, as you can see, I've got post up. I'm going to punch that down and get the air out of it. Take it out. And this is where you can have some fun. So this recipe makes 10 pretzels. So I'm going to divide this up into 10 balls of dough. If you want to weigh each individual ball, you can. I don't do that. I know that I need 5 out of each of these. So I can look at that, see about get it to about the same thickness. All right, so I can put just little marks on it to where it looks like it's going to be about. So see, that's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks about good. And I'm going to show you what to do if you have one that comes out a little bit small and you want to fix that. So if you have one that, say, comes out just like that, seems a lot smaller. I'm going to find the large ones, snatch a piece of dough off of it. Now at this point, like I said, if you want to weigh them, you can weigh them. You want to see how well I did? Let's do a quick weigh and just see how well I did. Thinking not too bad, but if I have one that's way off, I may adjust it. Okay, so 105, 91, 115, 100, 98. So I got this one that's a little bit big, that's a little bit small, took some dough off, stick it on there, done. Does not have to be exact, but you just want it to be close. So after I have these 5 balls ready to go, I'm gonna set them over and just let them rest while I get these other 5 ready. Do the same thing. Just kind of get me a log out there. 1, 2, 4. The more you do this, the more you can eyeball it and kind of see, you know, about what size they need to be. So this one here, very small. This one here felt a little big. This one feels a little big. Let's see how they look. Okay, so those don't look bad. All right, now the fun part. So you see from earlier, I did not clean off my counter. I left some of the flour and everything on here. That's gonna help, some of the gluten, all this, the parts on here, that's gonna really help me shape these. I'm not gonna shape them completely, but I take one hand, I'm gonna make smaller, almost like a little cylinder, like a little, and just let that rest. As I start to shape these and then I roll them out a little bit more, as they rest, they're gonna be easier to work with. The dough relaxes and you'll see you don't have to fight it quite as much. I'm not putting hardly any pressure on this, my hand, just a little bit, and then I make just a small outward movement. If you're first time making pretzels, you see it's not completely perfect. They don't look identical. They don't have to, because you're gonna see when they come out of the oven how wonderful they look. Now at this point, we can shape them, we can make twist, we can make pretzel buns. If I was gonna make pretzel buns, I wouldn't roll these out. I would just shape this into a bun shape. And if you want to know how to make a bun shape, you can go back and watch the brioche hamburger bun video, and that's where I will show you how you take dough and create a bun shape with it. And if you want to see all the videos, you can go to the playlist, or if you want to subscribe the button, hit the subscribe button down there, and you can see all the videos and get some notifications if you click the bell next to it, and that will show you all the videos, and you'll get notification when I put one up each week. So here we go. So I'm roll these out to about, say, 18 inches. And then, how do you make a pretzel shape? One over, so I make a bow like this, and I just twist, fold, and there you go. There is your pretzel shape. Now at this time, I'm just taking this dough and I'm putting it on my tray tables. I'll take the next dough and do the same thing. No need to complicate it. You see people pick up the dough and they spin it around and twist it and flip it over and say, well, you know what? The more and more you do this, the more and more you may want to play with it and get good and be able to do that. But for this video, we're just making pretzel shapes. Yeah, wrap it around, twist it a couple times, fold it over, make sure I've got my hole there on each side so when I pick it up, I stick my fingers through it. Just like that. And there you go, pretzel shape. And as I'm making these shapes, I've had my water boiling behind me with the baking soda in it. It's about 6 to 8 cups of water and 3/4 of a cup of baking soda. goes in there. And as it's starting to boil, so I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit, but you know, want to make sure that's ready to go. And I'm gonna keep making these pretzel shapes. Got 10 of them to make. And then we'll talk about the next step. Okay, so we have 2 trays, 10 pretzels. The next step is the boiling water with the baking soda in it. Take pretzels 2 at a time. You put them in the boiling water. I like to do them face down for about 20 seconds. Flip them over, 20 more seconds. Take the pretzels out, put them back on the tray. And we're gonna do that for all of these pretzels. So that's the next step. Do that, be right back. Okay, so we've done that. Took them in the baking soda in the water bath, boiling water, the baking soda. Next thing I'm gonna do is take a paper towel and I'm just gonna dab and get some of that liquid just off. Not a lot, don't press down, you don't wanna mash down at all. Just wanna lightly get some of that off, and then we're gonna brush them with melted, unsalted butter. So you see they've puffed up quite a bit, and that's exactly what we want. That's gonna give them that beautiful pretzel color that we know. And then I just take the melted butter and I just brush it on. And then I'm gonna come back and I'm going to sprinkle coarse salt on them. Now you can buy pretzel salt. They sell it. Most grocery stores do not sell it, but you can get it online. I like using just regular Morton's coarse kosher salt. I think it works just fantastic. And then these go in your oven. It should be already preheated to 375. So I've got that in there. I'm gonna save that butter because when they come out of the oven, I'm gonna put some more butter on them because that's the way we like them. All right, so the easiest way, just pour some in your hand and just sprinkle as much or as little or as salt. If you want to season them with something else, you can. But what is better than a salted pretzel? I'll need a little bit more. Then these will go in the oven and they'll bake for about 20 minutes. I'm gonna start checking them at about 15. I'm gonna make sure they're turning a good golden brown. If you want to, when cooking 2 trays at a time, after 10 minutes, I just swap the trays and then let them go for another 5 or 10 minutes. Take them out and wait till you see how these puff up. You are going to love these pretzels. And if you can keep from eating 2, you're better than I am, but normally I eat about 4, as you can tell by looking at me. But anyway, put these in the oven. We'll see you when they come out. All right, we got about a minute left. We're gonna take these pretzels out of the oven. And let me tell you, these are going to be the fluffiest, softest, most delicious pretzels you've ever had. The club soda, I don't know why I started using the club soda, but it adds just that extra bit of aeration to the dough and really makes them just turn out beautiful. Now, if you want to check to see if they're done, if you want to take a thermometer, stick it in the middle of one of the pretzels. You're looking for about 210. That's the number. A little bit less than that, maybe it's fine. They will be brown on the bottom. We've had that oil in there, so I'm gonna take these up and we'll take a look at them, see what you think. Oh yeah. And here we go. The trays are hot. How do you like this glove? My wife bought me these. Awesome gloves. Highly recommend them. Not sponsored or anything, but these are, I don't know. Awesome. That's what they are. Anyway, I don't know what brand they are. So I'm going to take these. I'm going to move them over here and let them start cooling off just a little bit. But these are pretzels. You can make the same recipe with sourdough if you have a sourdough starter. We're going to go through that on one of my other episodes, and we're going to do a little bit of a science bake and talk about why yeast works and bread rises and go through some of that. I'll tell you what, these pretzels look amazing, absolutely amazing. If y'all could smell, well, for that matter, if I could smell my kitchen, I guarantee you that would be delightful. So here we go. These are the pretzels. Don't those look good? We're gonna enjoy these. Man, those look good. Very simple recipe. Just gotta remember, add that club soda, follow the recipe. The recipe's down below. If you like what I'm doing each week, gonna come back, cook a new recipe. If you have an idea of something you want to see me bake, please leave it in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe over here and click the little bell button next to it, and that way you'll get notifications of the next time I bake. And remember, as always, the road may sometimes be shaky, but it will always be tasty. Thank you. See you next time.